So you want to communicate what your business is all about, but you don't know where to begin. Well, in this video series, I'll be taking you through how to develop a bespoke visual communication strategy for your business. Welcome to Ascendant Studio. My name is Ricardo, and Ascendant Studio is all about empowering entrepreneurs with the tools they need to communicate effectively. It's been my experience that communication can be the difference between success and failure. In business, buzzwords like buy-in and alignment are always thrown around boardrooms in the hopes of driving organizational effectiveness. And the success of great leaders is often attributed to their ability to communicate a clear vision. It amazes me how we as entrepreneurs are often more focused on perfecting our ideas than perfecting the way that we communicate them. In this video series, I'll be sharing a step-by-step guide on how to create a visual communication strategy for your business so that you can perfect the way that you communicate and bring your vision to life. In this video, I'll be taking you through a high-level overview of the various components of a visual communication strategy. I'll also be showing you how these components fit together to create a clear, coherent voice for your business. In future videos, we'll explore each individual component and unpack on how to create them. When developing a visual communication strategy, you should start with your overall business strategy and identify the core challenges your business is experiencing. We'll start by finding answers to questions like, what are the things that are currently inhibiting your strategy, and what are some of the things that would accelerate your strategy? An accelerator is something that would push your business forward, and an inhibitor, on the other hand, is something that is holding your business back. It's important to identify these two components to ensure that you're addressing both the positive and the negative within your business. To make this clear, I'll give you an example. One of my clients was trying to grow their business by diversifying their product offering. In this instance, an accelerator for their strategy would be product development. However, they faced a challenge in that they were wrapped up in day-to-day communications with their clients around existing products. Therefore, an inhibitor to their strategy is a lack of adequate documentation on existing products. I'm sure you can relate as an entrepreneur. I want to hear from you. What are some of the things that would accelerate your strategy, and what are some of the things that are currently inhibiting your strategy? Comment below. With your accelerators and inhibitors now identified, you can begin to plan the initiatives that are going to address these components. To have a structured approach to these initiatives, you'll want to define the answers to the questions that follow. Firstly, what is the objective of the communication? Or what are the results that you are trying to achieve by communicating? It's important to remember that you need to address your accelerators as much as you need to address your inhibitors. In our example, to address the inhibitors, my client had the objective of educating their customers. On the other hand, to address their accelerators, my client had the objective of inspiring their team to come up with new product ideas. The next component to consider is who will the intended audience be? Or rather, who are you communicating with in order to bring the results of the objective to life? The audience can either be internal or external to the business. It's important to be very specific when answering this question. It's easy for the inhibitor in our example, it's the customers. As for the accelerator, product development is largely performed by the internal team, and it would be okay to specify that team as the intended audience. However, new product ideas could also be sourced from customers, and communications could be created for customers specifically. By specifying the audience, we are basically defining the perspective from which we will review the communications that have been created. We'll be going into this in more detail in later videos. With the audience identified, you now need to define the message. Or, in other words, what are you trying to tell them? In my client's example, the message that they were trying to share with their customers related to product information. To make the communication clear, it often helps to have very specific messages with only one or two distinct points. However, there is no harm in listing multiple messages. For example, how does the product work? How do you install and operate the product? What do the various product options mean? And so on. It's important to ensure that these messages are packaged with their own distinct communications, to avoid ambiguity or causing confusion by targeting too wide an audience. With your key messages identified, you'll want to think about how you can deliver those messages or what channels you will use. Channels are the touch points with your audience, and they can be anything from print collateral to social media. In my client's example, they could reach their customers with product information through their website, Facebook, YouTube, and even email. These are the specific channels that communication can be distributed through to reach their intended audience. By specifying the channels, we begin to think about how the audience is engaging with the message. Remember, you can use as many channels as you think is necessary. And in my view, the more channels you can communicate through, the greater the chances are of achieving your objective. However, be sure not to over-communicate and come across as too spammy. I'll have more on this in a future video. Finally, you will need to address how you will monitor the effectiveness of the communication, or what your measures of success will be. This is an important component of a visual communication strategy, as it ensures that you are constantly re-evaluating the way your business is communicating. In the example, my client could have a measure to determine how many customers called in a month seeking product information. With a baseline measure, they could then monitor this call volume to determine whether their efforts were proving a success or whether they needed to re-evaluate their communication strategy. With all these components addressed, you're now able to jump into the planning and creation of communication pieces. In this step, you'll be identifying the most suitable communication method and developing a project plan for its creation and delivery. Lastly, with a full list of initiatives identified and planned out, you can determine the priorities and assign budgets to the communication initiatives. It's important to know you might not be able to tackle everything that you've set out in your communication strategy, and as time goes on, your priorities will shift. What's relevant now might not be relevant in the future. Your communication strategy is a living document. It's going to change as your business navigates through the turbulent world of entrepreneurship. But by having a clear strategy, you essentially have something to help you steer your business in the right direction. You see, every time you engage with a customer, or a staff member, or even a service provider, having a clear, coherent voice for your business creates consistency in those interactions. And more importantly, it creates harmony with your vision. If you would like to support this channel, I want to hear from you. What are some of the inhibitors and accelerators within your own business? Comment below and I'll share some ideas on how we could tackle these components. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon, as this goes a long way towards helping me to continue creating and sharing this content. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'm glad to have you on this journey with me, and I look forward to sharing more information on these components in future videos. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.